Well, good evening, everybody. Welcome to our home, AALCO Hong Kong Regional Arbitration Center. We're here today because of this gentleman to my left, Mr. Willy Lin, GPS JP. He is the chairman of the Hong Kong Shippers Council, and also he has been the chairman of the Hong Kong Productivity Council. And more so, he's also my Dai Si Hing in school, from the same school. Yeah. You probably saw him on TVB this morning and Bloomberg the other day and everywhere. So talking about the state of play in shipping and trade in this part of the world, in particular Hong Kong, China. So with geopolitics hanging over our heads and COVID cloud not completely blown away, with the pleasure of inviting Willy to come here to share with us some insights. First, also, we welcome our friends who are coming in person. And it's a fireside chat, so feel free to chat with us, raise your questions, also friends who are joining online. We would like to hear your wisdom on a number of matters, but I guess for lawyers, for business people, for governments, and there are all these people represented in both online and offline here today. So this is a closed door meeting. Chatham House rule applies. So if you want to talk about today, don't quote someone else. You can quote yourself as to what you've said. So with that said, so we'll start with a fireside chat conversation. At the end, if you're here in person, we'll be playing a video outside to give you more insight about what we do at AALCO Hong Kong Regional Arbitration Center. But I don't want to steal the time from Willy. Willy, welcome to AALCO Hong Kong Regional Arbitration Center. Welcome to our fireside chat. Today's talk is how is the health and what are the opportunities and challenges of globalization and regional trade for businesses, lawyers, and disputes resolvers. Willy.
Thank you, Nick. Thank you, everybody. I think we all know the word of de-risking, decoupling, nationalism, globalization, globalism. If we look at these 5 words, it may cover a bit of what happened in the last 10 years of the geopolitics of the world, and how it does it affect us as a manufacturer. I produce garments myself.
Yes, a factory industrialist.
How do we look at how does it affect us on sourcing? So, and how does these 5 words relate to in our school chapter 1 chapters, trade, logistics, and manufacturing? What happened? I try to say, some brief background. Hong Kong have been pretty successful in the last since the 80s along the line of trade, logistics, and manufacturing. We've been doing very well. But at the time, China borders not open, so a lot of manufacturing, and then we're the first one to jump into nowadays called Pearl River Delta, and now we call GBA. First one to actually invest inside China, and utilizing a relatively low-cost manufacturing base. And over the last 3 decades, this prosperity of GATT, the WTO, ensure a more relatively fair trade. Hong Kong is very benefited being a member of the individual member of WTO, WCO, member of APAC. So we do have an opportunity to really have a voice in the world trade. Okay, everyone knows because we are so small, we're only 7.5 million people. What do we have? Barren rocks and hands. So our ability to really prosper in trading, as trade and logistics and manufacturing not only in Hong Kong, but of course in Southeast Asia, in Mexico already. That there's Article 801 in which you can actually utilize Mexico manufacturing and export to the States.
Well, who's Article 801?
Article 801 is a U.S. law in which you can utilize American fabric productions in Mexico and export back to the U.S. with no duties.
No duties.
And they also have some some project in using Egyptian cotton and so on. But the interesting point was with all these different trade facilities, U.S. have been our biggest buyer. And you look at the competitive advantage. US is really designing, branding, high-tech industries, for example, the aviation industry. They've been pioneering on that. And they lift the so-called a bit lower manufacturing, I won't say cheap labor, but lower cost manufacturing to the hands of Asians. Similarly, in Germany, in Europe. So they are also similarly walking that path with the labor gradually more and more expensive, or the Big Mac theory, or how much it costs to bake. So it's a Big Mac, each country, so it designed.
The Big Mac index.
Yes, exactly. So that will also indicate that where disparity changed. That's interesting because when the first batch of EU and the now expanded batch of EU, when they start bringing a lot more less developed, also in old days called the Central European countries, which has a much lower salary compared to Germany, France, and so on. But they live very happily together because they have been able to move their manufacturing cost comparatively differently. So take advantage of that. So we look back now in all these years. So we have fast forward to I was recently saying that not only me, but some of the great speakers in the States have been saying that we actually have 3 to 5 wars going on now. One is in the Israel, Middle East. One is in the Russians, Ukraine. The very massive trade war between China and US since President Trump time, and even a bit before. And of course now with the South China Sea, Taiwan Strait. So there's a lot of excitement going on. But at the same time, Hong Kong is somehow shielded from most of the excitement in the sense that the Russian or Ukraine war, because I'm also a Consul General for Slovakia to Hong Kong. One of our Consul General actually asked me, why the Hong Kong people don't understand the conflict between Ukraine and Russian war? I said, yeah, I mean, when I was a student, this part of the world seems so remote to us. We may go there for holiday, but we hardly know what's going on. And again, we are lucky because food seemed to be quite secure for Hong Kong. With the exception of cost of transportation get more high because of the war. But all this, when we focus on Hong Kong now, what happened now? With the, let's talk about the five words. I want to say about the 2 words first, globalization and globalism. You look carefully, is globalization is an act of companies. Globalization is actually companies want to expand. Of course, we always say that, with the ongoing geopolitics between the US and China, there's still a lot of US companies expanding inside China because they see business opportunities. So globalization, they also expand in Asia, they expand everywhere. The globalization enables the company to grow and prosper and balance the
bigger markets.
Yeah, but the globalism is the action of a government. How do you do globalism? Then you come back to another 3 words I mentioned earlier was decoupling, de-risking, and nationalism. You think about decoupling is really like divorce, in which it's never very happy. So then you look at what the de-risking.
Wait, you implying we married in the first place?
Marriage first. But it seems like the geopolitics now going on. The US government and China, none of them want to say, I want to divorce each other. We still believe there's a lot of energy to try to continue the partnership. If you talk about de-risking, in a way, it's just like I will have a bit more girlfriends around. So you think there are more investment diversities in sourcing, diversities in productions, looking more opportunities to balance the risk of really one day a divorce. So then come into the word of nationalism or isolation. Nobody wants to use the word isolation anymore. Making a country great, I think is fair enough because every country every civil servant have to serve their own country. So of course I want the place where I live, where I work, citizenship is good, it's great. I think that is very normal. But then you just look at how you find your edge. Where is competitive edge of A country versus B country versus C countries? When Slovakia enters into EU, I also asked to challenge my president at that time. We were in Macau, and then I said, why we want to have you join the Euro? there's no competitive advantage at all because our currency is, I think, 1 to 12 to Deutsche Mark at the time. So of course the president lectured me for a while, explained to me why. Then I said, okay, I can accept that.
Wait,
it's interesting.
How did he convince you?
Well, basically, is look at big picture. Currency is we have when they join Euro, is the whole Euro community is actually share the cost in a way, and then the ease of financial burden, the exchange rate laws and things like that actually enable companies to be more equal play in a way. So this currency is still basically salary is still about 25% of Germany. So that's why you see a lot of German car manufacturers actually producing automotive. And nowadays you see nobody really talk about production in one country. They also production in EU, European community, with also the free circulation of products.
Yes.
It's enabled a lot of cost savings. I mean, I still remember when I was 1998 when I first went to Bratislava. I had to wait for about 25 minutes to cross the border from Vienna to Bratislava. 2 years later, when they start to become join the EU community, borderless. Truck line is gone. That was exciting. Similar things actually doing in Asia now. There's ASEAN community, the kind of ASEAN country actually have been talking about a similar union like EU, but of course all of them doesn't want to give up their military powers and stuff like that. But interesting, now they have actually they did actually now a called ASEAN Custom Community System, something like that, in which they mirror uncertain EU's rules, in which product when they transshipment come from country A to country C, country B will not touch your product.
Okay.
Now in old days, we truck something.
Open it? Customs
do not touch because it's no relation between the B country,
right.
It's A and C.
Transship.
So that's interesting because that cuts down a lot of red tape, a lot of costing,
yes.
timing,
yes.
and it will make the community much more efficient. Now, EU actually went in and explain to them and teach them and work with some country first batch, second tier countries. But that is what actually enable and then a community to actually be more prosper. Lower class, medium class, the higher class come. They actually communicate more. They travel with each other. They see the world better, and actually everything went up a lot. So you can see that last 5 years, most of the Asian countries do pretty well financially, country-wise. There are more savings in the country, so people are able to buy more luxury things. Most of the countries are actually benefiting from the prosperity, safety of the whole thing. As I mentioned, Hong Kong have been a beneficiary of WTO. Because when we enter, we as individual member, we have our own custom territory. So Hong Kong government, the traders are still defending our insistence that we have to stick to WTO rules on all our trade because we're too small to compete with big boys.
Right.
So whatever we do have to be rules compliance, and this so far we all follow the WTO, WCO rulings, so that in case there's a dispute settlement. That's supposed to be a dispute settlement. That will make a judge whether we did right, we did wrong. If we did not do wrong, we have to pay for the penalties, and that was a fair trial in a way. To some extent, it's a fair trial. So in a way, we look at TLM. Wherever Hong Kong manufacturers, Hong Kong traders goes, the TLM will have to stay with our blood into that country.
TLM?
Trade, logistic, manufacturing. We later I'll touch on carbon footprint. It will be more exciting for lawyers. You can make a lot of money.
This is exciting. Yeah.
So all this will actually enable us to continue to build our trading portfolio to be. We're not that big manufacturer, but now Hong Kong is actually working towards micro manufacturing, utilizing our relatively duty-free. Hong Kong as a duty-free port. You make a circle of 6 hours flying time between Hong Kong, all the way from Korea down to Australia to left India. We are the only place that really can say duty-free. except for products, right? Automotive, cigarettes, high alcohol content, and gasoline. Other than that, we're all duty free. Because we have been so efficient in our trade department, and all these trade declarations, very simple system. A product, for example, I can tell you, when I was in PCA at that time, for a couple of years ago, there was an Italian company actually decided to set up a manufacturing plant in Hong Kong. Instead of, they want in Shenzhen, but they want to do a high-end oil in Hong Kong. And using Industrial 4.0 sensors and all these things to set up a new production plant, total automation, 80% robotic. Why do you want to do Hong Kong? It's so costly. The reason is because of our very simple transshipment law. Cargoes, they use a lot of special materials from Italy, metals. Bring from Italy, come to Hong Kong, within 3 hours, landed in Hong Kong, they're already in the factory. It will take them 12 hours to produce product, and 2 days later, it's already on the plane back to Italy or back to Japan, and anywhere that they sell the products. There's no other place, China cannot do that. No other place in Asia can do that, only Hong Kong. An example, yes, despite we are talking about our ports is a bit going down, but you ask Chile, why Hong Kong is still the preferred ports for handling all the Chilean cherries. We are the most efficient place in the whole world to handle it, not China, horse. Despite we are almost very expensive, but we do have a can-do spirit. Hong Kong people are very smart. We can do it, but of course, our size is relatively smaller. Our market is not in Hong Kong, it's GBA. So certain manufacturing product, this manufacturing the cargoes is actually inside China. It's not here. So how do we capture a product? Aviation doing very well, right? It's a G2G agreement, not basically private sector agreement. Government and government had to agree to how many flights available, how many airlines are flying this route. Hong Kong, given a small place, we have almost a similar amount of countries and flights as China had for the world.
Yes.
So China is so big. So there's so many countries fighting so many cities fighting for the slot.
Yes.
We are all in Hong Kong, one place. We have all the slots.
Yes.
So it's actually this is a very, very unique. We had to thank our previous governments that really hard negotiation to get all the rights we do have. But again, coming back is where are the people, where are the cargoes? So that's why AA have been trying the best to bring in passengers from some because lack of frequency. A lot of students when they went to the States, they all fly through Hong Kong because there's not enough flight to go to the US. But just look at just Boston. How many foreign students study there? I studied in Boston myself. How many foreign students study there? Every day. So during my cousins, my sister's kids, their niece, they all study still in Boston. Flying in and back and forth during that holiday time is a nightmare. If you don't book in advance, you don't get any flight at all. So this is flying directly. I can remember someone told me that during COVID time, if you can even manage to get a flight from New York to Shanghai, it will take 3 days and close to $30,000 for economy ticket.
Wow.
It's scary. You can even fly back. So when they go, that's going through Hong Kong, they can't even do direct flight. There's no direct flight between the US and China at the time. Going through different route through Hong Kong, and pay $30,000 one ticket. It's unheard of. It's crazy. It's like you get first class tickets in the old days already. When we look at the geopolitics between what happened now, as a manufacturer, we have no choice but to move most of the consumer production out of China, southern GBA, to Malaysians, to India, to Sri Lanka, Bangladesh.
The so-called China plus one.
Moving offshore is nothing new. I used to have my factory in Bangkok 25 years ago already. That's basically due to quota reason. In the old days when you quota, Hong Kong does not have sufficient quota, China does not have sufficient quota, so you don't offshore, you cannot export your product for your customers. So we have to stay to service our customer. Hong Kong companies have a high reputation with our US or our Europeans or Japanese buyers because we are trusted and can do. Most of us, when we say yes, we mean yes. Even though it might be, we might lose money on that account. But when we committed to it, we'll get it done. Now, we do have this can do and trusted. That's why during COVID time, you see Hong Kong business very good. Because when we say committed, Hong Kong people find a way to get the face masks, to get the protection clothes, and so on and so on, to the US or back to Hong Kong ourselves to use and so on. So the can-do spirit had always been an important DNA in Hong Kong people. The Hong Kong manufacturers had moved to offshore not only because of geopolitics. I remember Wang Yang, he was Wang Yang, he was the governor of Guangdong. That time we were fighting with him hardly because he wanted us to 騰籠換鳥. As an OEM manufacturer, we fight hard with him. Why you want us to change? Why you want us to change? Our business is good, but you just raise salary too fast. Double every 5 years. You're killing us. But at the same time, it drives us to use more technology to compensate labor cost. That one. At that time, we still don't understand why you have to do branding, why we have to do so many things. Now with hindsight, he said, yeah, he actually tell us a lot of things, but we're just stupid. We don't understand it. We didn't thought about such a long view that China also want to, in a way, follow like the US, have more local sales to build up their own domestic circular business. In a way, I always find that China actually mirror a lot of things what US did. They also mirror a lot, like the infrastructure, the rail system, they mirror the Europeans. The highway, they mirror the US. But the concept itself is, they do see that, if you don't connect people, east side and west side, in the hinterland, it's always backward.
Yes.
That's not good. Yeah. That for countries is very scary. And they also want to make sure that the rich and poor gap is not too big. If you don't bridge the west and the hinterland and the prosperous coastal line, that would have a political implications.
Right.
So the inner circulation business opportunities, now we understand. But Hong Kong is have a more complicated, as Nick will know very well. We have been an open economy. So creating brands has never been our strength, especially on consumer product. Because the market is too small to create something for ourselves. And we have to be always open border anyway. It's not like Taiwan, because of the island structures. So they want to create brand for their own self. We don't need it. Whoever can sell cheaper to us, dump to us, we are happy. Cheaper the better, right? We never argue things is cheap. We always complain things are expensive, right? So why do we have to fight? Of course, now when China opened the border, they want to build up the inner circulation business opportunity. Hong Kong are a little bit backward. We don't have sufficient brands. We did not put enough investment on, look forward enough in the last 20 years. Some are doing well, but in relative terms, it's much smaller as compared to Taiwan. There are a lot more Taiwanese brand inside China than us. So what can we Hong Kong do, right? Of course, when you look at China have the inner circulation, outer circulation, I always say that Hong Kong also need both. We also inner circulation in the sense is how to create Hong Kong a more bigger consumer market. Yes. But outer circulation is how do we bring Hong Kong companies out, continue to export out to the world, not only to GBA. We should not only look at GBA 1. GBA is important, but not only to GBA. But the world is round, opportunities everywhere. Customers still like to work with us. So we should always bring, if we don't have a competitive edge inside GBA area for manufacturing certain or similar product, if Sri Lanka give us opportunity, we go to Sri Lanka. If Indonesian give a why not? Most important is the talent. We had to nourish enough technical staff, management staff in Hong Kong so that we can send them out. If not, that would be, this is the toughest part for SME. The SME do not have enough talent on their hand. SME have to face the toughest time is because when they hit, they have no way to go. And how do we support them to nurture enough talent so they will be able? So in that sense, we also have to, of course, thank Hong Kong government. Probably lawyers doesn't know. Well, yes and no. Yeah, maybe no. The Hong Kong government actually have about 44 funds that support the different trade, different sectors of the economy. And I can give you the rainbow chart. We call this a rainbow chart. If you want to set up a high-tech manufacturing plant in Hong Kong, high-tech, with R&D, with a lot of things, the maximum government can support is close to 40 million, 35 million Hong Kong dollar. But of course, you have to matching fund. It's not free. Every dollar government gives you, you have to put same amount back. We want to sustain, keep on encouraging industry to upgrade. We move the really labor-intensive offshore. We keep the, as I said, the micro manufacturing, the food processing industries. Food processing have a lot of potential for Hong Kong because, again, trust. Most of the Asian community people, they all come to Hong Kong for traveling, for eating, for great meals. They all want something to bring back. And they say, oh, the Hong Kong soup in Hong Kong is very good. So how do you make and support them to talk about export? Now, it's not very sexy industry. It's not very big, but there's a lot of technology. How can you do a soup that can put in a container boat and put a normal shelf life for 6 months without bacteria grow? Now, this is technology. There's a processing called high pressure processing, in which like 50 elephants standing on you. So everything, all the cells die. So technology, because of demand, bring new technology, and new technology support the trade to grow. Asian community love Hong Kong of food. So food processing do have great demand. Biotech, especially so-called biomedicine, put it this way. Again, Hong Kong have a trusted branding. Every Asian community, no matter in US, in UK, anywhere you have Chinese, they like to buy Hong Kong. Huge opportunities, huge business. There's a lot of big brands in Hong Kong actually using e-commerce now. They're selling very, very well inside China also. So we have this branding in which people trust. So we can actually do more to encourage investments and into that. Of course, that also requires a lot of legal support, make sure all these understanding of interpreting. One thing that's very interesting is Hong Kong is the preferred place for all brands when they want to sell to China, the e-commerce. A lot of e-commerce go into China that way. Okay, go that way, up that way. Why they want to choose Hong Kong? Because we understand the law inside China. We understand the CIQ requirement of China. We understand the lab testing requirement in China. So we do have this knowledge, whereas nobody else have. That this is one of the strengths on the trading side, that we be able to bring a lot more foreign products into China, central China, working through Hong Kong companies. Vice versa. When Chinese companies want to export out because of our basically a bit better English proficiency, also again understand the overseas law, we again become a very good middleman to support Chinese brand to go overseas. So this position is actually enable us to do a lot more than we had ambition.
Can I drill into some specifics? I mean, the health of globalization,
right,
or globalism, due to globalism, in terms of number of cargoes or empty cargoes, have you seen the change between pre-COVID, after COVID, and after certain events?
No, actually, global trade continue now. It will change with hindsight. I think in coming years there will be some changes, not due to geopolitics, but due to carbon taxation rules. You have to think about it is, from 2025 until end of 2030, EU had that 6 products that will require carbon taxation.
Okay.
Metal, shipping, airlines, so 6 industries.
So the more you ship, the more credits you need to buy.
Now, I as a manufacturer, I produce sweaters. My raw material came from Australia. I have to, the Australian farm, how do they grow the ship, and how do they shed the hair of the sheep and process, clean, make it clean. That's one process.
Right.
Then pack in the bales, put in a container ship, and ship it to the factories in Shanghai, which would then truck to Zhejiang for processing. From that, it will turn into yarn, after dyeing and so forth and so on, and send to Dongguan or send to Bangkok or send to Vietnam, doesn't matter, and other countries. And the factory that process it create a lot of carbon negativity. And then put it back in poly bag, cartons, and ship it back to the US and ship it back to Europe. Now, the whole process, every step along the way, you create a carbon tax. Now, the European government is saying that the cost of every ton of carbon is 90 euro.
Okay.
China say they can do it. They only charge, I forgot, 90 RMB or something like that, relatively much. But that's what the Europeans say, no, we don't recognize. We don't have agreement. So you cannot use China carbon credit to cover your taxation from the Europe. Your buyer will have, at the end of the day, pay for it, maybe, okay? If they pay for it, do you think they will not charge you back? They're not going to be so nice, right? How do you get this number? How do you calculate this process every step on the way? It's got great technology and know-how. Nobody really know yet. Everybody is trying to find a way to calculate it. And actually, there will be a project now, started the project which lasts for 18 months, in which HKPC will work with the trade association to try to explains how many steps is involved, how do you get to each number in every process, and every day, where can you buy offsetting? If you can't offset, then you have to pay. Okay? If you look at DD, they actually, every time when you take a DD cab, when they look at the bills, they actually tell you how much carbon to use. Okay, now this one is actually your cost. Because if you use the DD to go from point A to point B, technically you incur the cost. Or third-party logistics will provide you with this number, so that you have to fill up the form to the customer. One calculation that things tell us that if we don't change the way we produce things or we don't change the way we consume things, every garment will cost 25% more. Scary. Really scary.
What would cost 25?
Every piece of garment you produce, every jeans, not the retail price, but the cost is 25% up.
Because of carbon footprint.
Exactly.
Wow.
If you do more closer to your source, your area of production, or area of sales, right? Then this means you cut down your carbon footprint. Now, so in a way, a lot of countries start looking at how can we encourage investment near my hometown to create a upstream, downstream manufacturing. Not every place is possible. Okay, we don't have the raw material, we don't have the technology, we don't have the people, whatever. So that's why I say that eventually, coming 5, 10 years to 15, 20 years, a lot of manufacturing location will be changed because of the carbon footprint demands. A lot of onshoring will be or nearshoring will be happening because of this effect. So all this is actually a futuristic thing, maybe coming 10 to 15 years. Onshore together with a little bit unsettling relationship between the two, our motherland and our great friends in the US, or even some in Europe. The whole market become a little bit more unsettling. If you have been to Europe lately, you can find that it seems that your European countries do not have money. A Coca-Cola will charge you €4.50, one small bottle. A Big Mac is €10.
Expensive then.
Expensive. What the European government actually do is they actually came up with a new law recently. Quite interesting is, I believe if I'm not mistaken, they will be effective 2030, in which they said that all things produced within Europe can only be consumed within Europe. Leftover are not allowed to be sent to third world country.
You're talking about food or any category?
Everything.
Okay.
Now, it's interesting. You think carefully. This law plus then second law will be human rights laws, labor laws, and so on. So all this package of different law. So if normally today, if you ask a department store, my forecast is I will sell 1,000 glass. But what happened if I couldn't sell 1,000 glass? I only sell 800. Now the 200, either they put in the shop, the warehouse, find opportunity to do special sales. If not, distribute to sell to some third world countries. Very cheap. Now, if you cannot sell it to third world country, then the buyers of that department store will start thinking, should I buy so much? I don't know. Yeah. It could be, it may not. And at the same time, is there going to be a European law to also forbidden similar action towards imports? I'm sure it will be coming, but I don't know when. But you cannot, because otherwise your local industry will suffer. You imagine, right? Locally, I have constraint, import don't have constraint. So I'm quite sure that another European law will be coming to ensure that there is a fair trade, fair opportunity. So all this is, in one sense...
Can you spell that out, what you mean by law on imports?
Now,
how would you restrict it?
If I'm a glass producer, if the law says I cannot dispose of my unsale product to a third world country, then if an import have no limit,
then I'll just import.
Exactly, then I'll close the factory, right? I'll only create brands. No government would dare to do that. And it does not make sense also. So the future of global sourcing, global manufacturing, global logistic players, third-party logistic companies, carbon footprint, will be all life is more complicated.
The two European laws, are they opportunities or challenges in your mind?
I would say it's a lot of challenges, particularly, again, I point to SMEs. We might not be have the ability to be flexible to move offshore so easily, or financially are not as strong. We don't have, most of you do not have a lot of money. So if you go to you go to offshore. Hong Kong government is actually providing 8 million Hong Kong dollar for the fund to support Hong Kong companies that go offshore for set up offices. Law firm can do that also.
BUD,
the self-manufacturing sites or sourcing, trading in all countries that have agreement with Hong Kong. So, but 8 million to a high-tech factory is nothing. But 8 million to a low-cost manufacturing, yes. But then you have the matching. So you have that owner must put $8 million in order to build. So there's still a lot of interest. The numbers of applications actually is increasing every day, as far as I was told. So I think Hong Kong government is also to see that we have to support Hong Kong companies offshore.
I know you're not a lawyer, but
of course not.
But you are a problem solver. You're a dispute resolver. So in a sense, can you venture to sort of highlight some points you think is a takeaway for lawyers, business people, and dispute resolvers in the room? What can we do more of to take advantage of some opportunities and overcome some challenges?
Globally, there are one or two organizations that actually have PIMCO and so on. We are actually all in Hong Kong. But unfortunately, as what we were told or what we see is not many shipping companies are using it. We of course, we have been supporting, our central government have been supporting and been telling us that, yeah, we do support Hong Kong to build PIMCO. We do support shipping contract to have arbitrations, dispute settlement through Hong Kong, which in a way, we see slightly more, yes, but still not enough to become really a force.
Does Hong Kong need to be a port, a top 10 port in order to deal with the disputes regarding other people's trade?
I think we graduate from being a top 10, top 20.
Interesting.
A lot of people have been asking me and ask the same questions. Do anybody still remember 3 years ago Rotterdam and Hamburg is on top 10?
No.
But are they there? They are. They are still some of the most efficient port in the world. So we aren't. Is there something bad? But at the same time, again, there's one trade that we always overlooked. We always look at how many container box. Hong Kong is actually one of the most important ship management center. We actually manage a lot of boats, a lot of and boat means shipping that goes around the world, especially bulk cargo. We had the management knowledge to handle tens of thousands of seafarers that spread around the world. So you have to know today, a boat is in Rotterdam. So I need 25 seafarers. They will prepare the 25 to go up to the boat, all the document, license, captains, and so on. Where you bunker your boat, because every boat now life get more complicated because of the green fuel requirement. Every boat is not the same. So sometimes you use fossil fuel, sometimes you use methanol, you use LNG, you use and so on. So this get more complicated. So the ship management company must know very well where can the boat go, where will the boat and can get the necessary fuel, the bunkering. So all this is actually a very high tech and high value added services. Lawyers, of course, lawyers, right? Maritime lawyers. Last year, when I'm chairman of the board, the Maritime MPATF Fund, we actually initiated already. I talked to Stephen that time to train maritime lawyers. Government provided up to 1 million, more than 1 million Hong Kong for 2 years training for maritime lawyers. 1 million for barrister. We also want to increase the number of maritime lawyers. We were talking about this year we start working on insurance and finance. Of course, there are many people, many livelihood that work in Kuaiting terminals. A lot of people lives there. We are not giving up them, but we need to find a way to make them more efficient because Hong Kong population is going down every day. Our aging is quite fast. We might not have too much pair of hands just to do a very dirty laundry jobs. Technology will help. Somebody say that, oh, Hong Kong have very low tech. No, that's not true. Hong Kong do have all the technology, but we never bash ourselves. We never tell the world that we have certain things. We have all this technology being used already. Mobile crane, everything is already there. So what happened now is we are slowly changing, using more autonomous driving. 3 years ago, if you asked me whether autonomous driving is possible in a very busy environment, I would tell you no way. Because that robot will have to carry 4 Sony P2 software, hardware there, to think fast. Today with 5G, with Beidou, you can do that, accuracy. They can pinpoint only 2 centimeter, that accurate, even in a running pods. So technology change is leapfrogging. So of course Hong Kong, nobody wants to see in the news that, oh, a robot autonomous bus hit a post. Wow, big headache. Then everybody freak out, right? Nobody want to do that. So we probably will have to put a lot more safety net in a way that a robot will have to censor nothing that can move around that truck within 3 meters, for example. Now, having said that, this is also a problem. Why? If you imagine that you were in a convention center, when you go from convention center, when you're going to go to CGO office, there were 2 roundabouts. The biggest problem is teaching a autonomous car to go on a roundabout. Because you tell them, okay, look left, look right, look left, look right. They look at, nothing can be seen within 5 meters. The turnaround continues in Hong Kong. So the autonomous car will just stay there and keep on looking. Now, this is the problem. How do you solve this problem? Nobody can do it unless you go straight. So whenever you traffic light, then if they see traffic light, it's okay because traffic light tell them you stop. Green light, you tell them to go. But if you tell them to go or turn around, they're in trouble. So that's interesting.
Can I open the floor for questions? And also online. Any questions?
So in the short term, what sort of advantages you see Hong Kong can actually promote to not work out of the dilemma now we're facing, more sort of becoming closer to a market leader in a sense? Because historically we're known for financial center, but
Right.
now because of the financial market, it's
Hong Kong went through a very difficult time. Maybe all both of us are around 2019 is a very difficult time for everybody. Immediately after that, COVID. And we are actually just opened up a year and a half. So we did a lot of catch-up game. But I still believe that the world is round. I mean, I love globalization. I don't like isolation. I still believe that making Hong Kong value known to the world. I still believe that preaching the gospel, saying that we're a very small place. I mean, we can be a good partner with anybody. Different ideologies, it doesn't matter. We know how to deal with China. We know how to deal to work with the States. Most of us educate. I mean, a lot of my friends are all educated in the States. My family is half Asian because my son is Thai, my wife is Thai, so we will also stay in Thailand all the time. So we are all Asians. I mean, we are all part of the world community. So we have to follow a rules that we were given after World War II. Then you get, again, I said, there's a GATT, then WTO. Now, if there was going to be a new rule come out, let's be it and see how the new rule works. I'm quite sure we'll be able to work with it legally, financial power, but we can't do it. Make Hong Kong valuable, continue to be valued is important, because when I talk to my customers, they always say that we trust you, we work with you for so many years, but just please move the plant offshore, that's it. Right? Fine, we'll do that. But at the same time, we keep our plant domestically inside China for domestic sales. The huge market, 1.4 billion. Now, the only difference is whether we are competitiveness enough to compete with Chinese brands. Now, that is something that a lot of people never thought about it, is China itself cutthroat. Brands and brands kill each other. And we may not be hungry enough to compete with that market. So there's a huge market, but maybe our Hong Kong brands are more happy competing with within Asian communities, a little bit less hungry, less greedy, less competitive than working inside China. So China is really a very difficult market to break into, especially for SMEs. You don't have the financial ability to open the market at all.
Willy, if I may, question from an online audience. Mr. Lin, do you think that WTO is performing its intended role nowadays after these many years?
Unfortunately, they're suffering, I would say. I always say there used to be a dispute settlement. Some country win, some country lose. You lose, you follow the rules, new rules, right? Just like a court, right? You have a court, you're judged, and the defense lawyers. Unfortunately, at this present moment, it's dysfunctional.
Because?
The dispute settlement is not there.
Okay.
So when you have country dispute, it's impossible to have a judge to handle a panel to really look at each other details and verdicts and decide A is right or B is right or who is wrong, and what's the punitive damage. Right. Hong Kong lost to Hong Kong have been in many disputes disagreeing for different countries. We also have been targeted by 301s, Article 301 from the US some years back. We have dumping duties on Hong Kong products. Some Hong Kong factories actually cannot be allowed to sell to, with I think 150% duties. They just close down the factories.
Because of time, any last questions from the audience here? Comments? Well, thank you for respecting that we're supposed to end right now, 6:30. So please put your hands together for Mr. Willy Lin. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.